After you have lived here a while, it gets easy to forget just how beautiful Washington can be with those classic buildings, wide stretches of parkland. Well, photographer Steve Gottlieb has a great appreciation for the Capitol, and he's out with a revised edition of his book. It's called Washington, Portrait of a City, and I got the chance to sit down and talk with him about what inspires him and how all of us can learn how to take great photos. What's so great about this book, too, is, those of us that live here and work here, I don't know if we sort of become accustomed to the monuments and the parks. And, when visitors come, they go, oh, wow. When you lived here, were you in awe of kind of your surroundings, or did that sort of change when you started taking pictures?
A little of each. I mean, it is the most beautiful city in America. I have been to every major city and photographed them. I'm not talking about being at the airports. I have been to the cities. I have taken pictures. And this is the most beautiful because we have what everyone knows, the exquisite monuments, memorials,
right,
museums, the mall, the C&O Canal, and so forth. It's really spectacular.
I love this photo, by the way, while we're talking. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, but the more you're around, the more incredible things you see. And here's a little tip. If you want to photograph the Lincoln Memorial at the best time, you come around the first day of spring or the first day of fall on a sunny day. Mm-hmm. And I mean the first day. Mm-hmm. Because that is when the sun comes up behind the Capitol and goes directly through the pillars of Lincoln Memorial onto Lincoln. So I was there a number of occasions, and I just happened to be there one day when the official Lincoln statue washer was there, like a window washer. I don't know how often he was there.
You just lucked into it.
But I just lucked into it. And, and I like to think, luck plus knowing a little bit about how to compose a shot. And I've got a frieze of his, doing that brush and cleaning Lincoln's face.
Well, as we talk, let's take a look at some of the other photos that you have from the book. Do you have favorites, Steve?
There's so many favorites I have that it's really hard to pin down. This is a memorable to me for a kind of a quirky reason, which is to get this shot, you need a very wide-angle lens, mm-hmm, and then you actually need to lean over the kind of the railing at the DuPont Circle Metro, and you get about half your weight over, literally about half your weight, because you have to reach out to get this particular perspective.
And how'd you manage to hang on?
So what I did was, I was married at the time, and she leaned back, held onto my belt. I wore a very heavy belt that day, so I could kind of get over there. I never would have done it without that. And I've often thought, kind of very late in the marriage, would I have done the same shot, Anyone who's been married and divorced would,
I hear you.
They could imagine that thought going through your head.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's take a look at some of the others from the book, if we can, while we chat. Tell me about this one.
I was driving by the Housing and Urban Development Building, which is one of the, it's not saying much, but it's one of the nicer pieces of architecture in L'Enfant Plaza. And I noticed it was raining, that each little raindrop created a prism, an image of the building in the background, but the conditions weren't quite right. I actually needed a sunny day. And so, being the persistent person that I am, I came back on a sunny day with a spray bottle and sprayed little drops on my windshield and set up a tripod kind of inside the car.
Wow.
To take a photograph. So that's a straight photograph. There's no manipulation, no Photoshop.
That's very cool. And then the last one is the East Wing of the National Gallery of Art. This is unusual. This is
a very unusual shot. In fact, I sent this and another picture I'd taken of the East Building to the famous and wonderful architect I.M. Pei. Mm-hmm. And I got a personal note saying I should come to New York to meet him. And we ended up spending a lot of time actually together. And he was kind of inspired because he had never seen anyone approach the building in the way that I had. And the little trick I used here was I turned the camera 45 degrees so that the vertical line now became a diagonal line, and it just seemed to work for me.
You take absolutely gorgeous pictures. Of course, you're a professional photographer now. It turned from a hobby into a real career for you. But if you were telling somebody like me, that's another gorgeous shot, by the way. If you're telling just an amateur photographer what to look for when they're out there photographing this gorgeous city, what would you say?
Well, let me say first that mostly now I'm not taking pictures. I'm teaching photography. I run a workshop in Northeast Maryland, Horizon Photography Workshops. And so I have an opportunity week in and week out to teach people how to take better pictures. And really the key thing I teach people above all is it's really not about the equipment. Most of the pictures in the book I could have taken with a point-and-shoot camera. it's not so much about photographic expertise. I'm not one of the great experts. I don't even use 3/4 of the features in my camera. And it's not so much about some creative, you know, thing that you're born with. It's really about discipline and determination. It's kind of a mindset that you develop that gives you that patience and determination. And you kind of go at it, and then you have to say, when you look through the camera, if it looks ordinary, you just go, no, I'm going to move on. I'm going to find a different angle on things. So really, everybody is capable of taking great shots if you want to, if that's your objective.
Wow. He takes beautiful pictures.
Yeah, those are great shots.
And I don't care how many times I see the city, it's still one of the greatest places to live, isn't it?
I completely agree.
Yep. And this is always